Any parent that allows any type of pornography, abuse, whether it be sexual abuse, domestic violence, emotional abuse, it should not be tolerated. If you make one mistake, it's a mistake. It's not a mistake anymore. It's not a mistake to call children nasty names, negative names, to blow their egos. It's not a mistake when someone is drinking and then they go off and they slap their kids. It's not a mistake or anyone else's responsibility when children go up on the internet in their underwear. It's unacceptable. It's wrong. And you know what the problem is, Truth? No one cares. And when I say no one cares, over here, Reagan, when I say no one cares, I'm talking about authorities. They are allowing various parents to continue the same abuse over and over again. People can call CPS, they can call the sheriff, they can call the local PD. It doesn't matter because they're not doing anything. Just like abuse that was taking place in another state near North Carolina. No one did nothing about that abuse. No one. They could care less. Over here, Raven. The authorities are lacking movement on anything going on with kids on the internet. Sooner or later, they're going to have to act. But what I'm afraid of, it's just going to come too late. One of the children in one of these homes is either going to get killed, hurt, and they're already being emotionally abused every freaking day on various platforms in various homes. And the parents are aware of what they're doing. The bad thing is when you have a pattern of selective behavior that has been going on for 20 years. Think about it. 5 kids, 20 years of selective negative behavior. Okay? One of the extended family members has died. So now, the true behavior of these people on social media platforms are coming out because the extended family member is no longer there to make sure the kids are not abused. Now, 20 years minus 15 years would make the oldest child 5 years old that went to an extended family member. So, someone stepped in before, and the extended family member that actually lived in the home with some of these abusers died. So now the children have no one to care for them. No example of normal norms that we accept in society. In another home, in another state, the same behaviors were exhibited. Because, you know why? The negative comments and behaviors from that parent was all over YouTube. No one stood up for this other child. They didn't care. And if they did say anything wrong, the whole freaking internet went against that individual. So, but considering these 5 young people, if in 20 years the parents the biological parent, continues to allow abuse, emotional abuse, even especially to a disabled child, that is neglect. And if there are things going on in the home that many people, subscribers, YouTubers, can just imagine, and nothing's being done, then it's everyone's fault. Because, unfortunately, parents who do not respond to protect their children, who continue to get click views and money and fame, or they think it's fame on YouTube, it's really not, for using their children, that is a form of abuse also. And as I have said before, early last year, 5 parents have already received prison time for doing exactly what is being done now to children. Sooner or later, when enough people are raising hell and bringing it to the attention of the authorities, something's going to be done. The other problem is you have sexual predators, just like Truth said, out here in California, traveling back and forth to Pennsylvania, who are going after young girls. There's a problem there. And if our police forces throughout the United States cannot do anything about that, then we have a big problem. Because we are not protecting our children. Society as a whole should have the philosophy that children should be protected. But oh no, we are allowing them to continue the abuse. Just imagine being 11 years old, having your parent drink so much that he or she is an alcoholic. They yell, they scream, and maybe they go off once and they slap you in the freaking face. You run to your bedroom and you lay there and cry all night. And they are so busy drinking or being on YouTube or being on another channel, TikTok, another platform, that they don't give a shit about you. You're on your own. Well, I'm going to tell you something. Whoever that extended family member is that took the first 3 children, congratulations there. You saved those 3. You made them productive members of society. Woohoo to you. Because the other 2 have no one who cares. Except creators on YouTube, which are called the dark side. Please get real. If 20 to 50 people watch you on your lives, and they all are in agreement that you are abusing your children in some form, you're wrong. They're right. It's about respect. I wouldn't care as a parent whether anyone, sit down, Raven. I wouldn't care as a parent if anyone respected me, but I would make sure that my child or my children were taken care of. It is your responsibility to make sure that your kids live in a clean home. Then you are throwing them to the wolves. And the other thing is, if you say, oh, I'm aware that someone is missing, if you stay in that situation and you continually accept that abuse for yourself and your children, you are wrong. It is your job to protect your children. So let's be real. 14 or 15 years ago, from my understanding, from what I heard, from what I read and researched with the PI, your 3 children were protected. Someone cared enough to say, hey, you're not grown up yet. You don't have enough knowledge. The person who died in your home, he probably set a good example for those kids. And he probably was the buffer between your housemate and your children. And he probably had rules. But now that he's gone, there are no rules. So if you believe that society as a whole believes not throwing your rules, you're badly wrong. Children are precious. They are a gift. And for those who don't have no children, Big Tim is correct. Common sense. Common sense. It's just like the situation with Sebastian. So many people online have degraded that young man. They've called him names. They disrespected his. And have you heard anyone say anything? Yes, I have, but not enough. Any missing human being, any child or adult who cannot take care of themselves, they need someone to step up, step out, and do something. Unfortunately, in all these cases of missing people, abused children, sexually assaulted victims, everything is being squashed back down like we're making grape juice. Reality, listen up now. It's not a mistake. And in order to cycle, you have to have the desire to learn new behavior. So I understand. I understand that they are not accepting the way things are. So, as for truth, I think you were right. Someone else needed to say something. Because it's unacceptable. It's not just little girls who are exploited. It's little boys also. Little boys are sexually assaulted, they're trafficked, and there's not enough people saying anything about it. The people, the adults, who allow children to put out material like that, or they do it themselves, and they think it's funny, okay, that is wrong. So any of you who are participating in this bullshit against children and missing individuals, you need to take a step back and consider what society, our norms are in the United States. It's just like the clip videos from Pennsylvania, okay? Attacking adults with disabilities, veterans who have served this country and given us our freedom, and young women. They are attacking young women's mothers. And restraining orders and protective orders have had to be gotten against the PA agency, okay? They had to go to court. For what? For someone threatening young girls. What right, as adults, do we have to allow bullshit to happen to young people, our children, our next generation? We don't have that right. I will say this. I will say the Pennsylvania Police Department and the North Carolina Police Department have acted more quickly than a lot of the states concerning all this bullshit with the RICO and lawsuits and the misconception that children should just accept what's thrown at them, because it shouldn't happen. And it doesn't matter how much money you make. It doesn't matter what position you hold in life. It doesn't matter if you have a baccalaureate, a master's, or a doctorate. If you don't have the common courtesy and the common sense to treat children, the missing and the disabled, with respect, common compassion, And knowing that they have the ability to be successful individuals within their communities and society as a whole, then you have failed. I'm going to tell you, 2 years of listening to the same bullshit from some of you creators is just amazing to me. It's like watching a repeat over and over again. And if you don't get off the Ferris wheel and question some of the behaviors and get away from the channel or the platform for a few days and rectify in your mind that something's wrong there, then there's a problem. Any situation you have in life, you should not be more than 60 days in solving a problem. If the same problem continues after 60 days, then you haven't did your diligence or your productivity to be successful in solving that problem. And the whiners and the little crybabies on here, my God, you guys are ranging from 39 years old to 60. Why is there all the crying and the, oh, everyone's attacking me? Who cares? You're supposed to be adults. You all have children, or you are the custodians of others. Do something productive and protect others, because that is what we are here for. We're here to help other individuals. And this thing about religion, oh my goodness. Instead of arguing about which religion is the best, why not set the example that all religion requires everyone to be kind and compassionate to one another, to share compassion, respect, to help your fellow man. I don't care whether you're a Jew, a Catholic, a Christian, non-denominational, Latter-day Saints, who cares? We're all on this earth to help others and help ourselves. In reality, you really need to get a grip, because I tell you why. No one is responsible for anyone's behavior except that individual. Everything we do in life, we are held responsible to ourselves. If we cuss at someone, if we run someone's down, if we demand that someone be respectful to someone else, we are held responsible for that behavior. So if you think that Big Tim or Queen Bee or Clue are responsible for his actions, you're definitely wrong. Brittany is an adult, okay? She is held responsible for her own actions, just like Queen Bee, Big Tim, Clue, Cletus, myself, Mr. Rogers, Mr. and Mrs. Proudfoot. We're all held responsible for ourselves. But all of us, as being adults, need to set the example for our children. Because if we don't set good examples, and we don't take up for those who are not strong enough or have the background knowledge as young adults, 13 to 17-year-olds, they don't have enough background knowledge. But they don't know, and they do not realize, as young adults without background knowledge, what the consequence asks. Truth was telling the truth about the circumstances. If you allow something to stay on the internet, there are very strange people out here in this world, and they will come after the young children, or even the teenagers. But that's something we don't want to discuss, because we don't believe that's our responsibility. But it's the truth. It's been going on since the beginning in time. You all have a good evening. Consider your own responsibility. Consider your safety. But most of all, consider this. Consider all the children. Look at what's going on in the YouTube platforms or the streets or whatever you want to call it. Facebook has taken a step back, and they're a little bit more protective now of what is online about children. YouTube needs to do the same thing. And PA in Jersey, you still need to apologize to Sebastian. Because what you did to him was wrong. Even Florida, what you did to his name is wrong. Remember, if you can't be kind concerning Sebastian, and you have to put everyone that's in the category of autistic as demonic demons, sooner or later, someone's going to say something about that. And as I'm telling you, as an adult, and I'm held responsible for this, there will be repayment for what you did to the whole category. I cannot believe that you actually did that to your own children. That's wrong. And even as an educator, you think about that. And you get on there and cry. But if I were you, I would go to my synagogue and I would pray for forgiveness. Because you took the whole category, a protected category from ADA, and you threw them, the whole category of autistic people, into the depths of hell. What right do you have to state that autistic people are from the belly of Lucifer? You don't. That's wrong. And even considering that your children in that category, that is what I question. You taught school for 19 years, almost 20. You retired. And then you have your own children who fall into that category, and you threw them under the bus also. I don't know. That's kind of questionable to me. Especially since you took an oath when you became an educator. You passed your exams, you took an oath. And something else. Even if you retired as an educator, okay, your oath is still there. You may not be teaching, because obviously you're not teaching. But here's the problem. That is a lifetime guarantee. Once you take that oath, you are guaranteed, hey, I'm going to live by the example that I'm going to allow people with autism to be productive members of society. You think about that. And then you think, all of us need to think about not fighting over religion, but that we should be examples of kindness, compassion within our own foundation. But when it comes to children or when it comes to disabled people, I get very hot under the collar. And my thing today is all missing children, all missing human beings should receive respect. Respect, not less than respect. So you take it for what it is. I personally, I don't care what anyone thinks. All those individuals need respect. All children need examples, whether we as adults like each other or not. And we need to set that example. Forget the money. Money comes and goes. But a human being's life is worth something. We have to value human life. Or we're no better than a rapist, a serial killer. And if you don't have an example, or you don't have norms from society, or even as a human being, one human being, then what you're doing is you're setting up the individuals around you, the young people, to fall. And I guarantee you, from birth into 20 years old, if you fail that child, that young person, for 20 years, then what are they to do? If you refuse to look into the eyes of another human being, an extended family member, or someone in your life that cares, and they say, hey, look, you need help. Hey, look, let us help you. If you are unwilling to extend your hand out to someone that's trying to help you, for your safety, for your child's safety, then when your child becomes an adult and they go down the wrong way, then that is on your back. You are held responsible. So you think about that. And I want to point out something. There are several individuals online who keep on asking other people to come to their home and help them. Okay? That is a cry for help. I don't know what the answer is for that cry for help, but I've heard it like 10 times. And if you know who I'm talking about and you are a friend of that person's, then you need to find out what kind of help they need, because they keep on asking for help. And if they're asking for help over and over again on the YouTube channel and they're not receiving help in their own home, think about it. I cannot reach out to that person. But if you know who that person is, have consideration and maybe you can say something to that person. But I refuse to say anything. But it's strange when someone keeps on asking people to come to their home and take over their responsibilities. That's strange. They need help. They're asking for help. So, think about it. If you want to pray about it, you believe in prayer or good vibes or whatever, then do that also. You guys take care. Be safe. Because I tell you, the streets still are not safe out here. People are getting pretty ugly. Good night. Thank you.